Hey guys, Eli here. So, I'm a big fan of the Shudder streaming service. A few years ago, I started collecting their original title DVDs, and I recently thought it would be fun to rank the movies I have here in my collection. I have 12 so far, so here we go. Number 12, Cleansing Hour from 2019. This movie was written and directed by Damien Levesque. Here you have childhood pals Max and Drew, who are now grifters running a successful web show where they perform fake exorcisms for views, which suddenly skyrocket when they come across an actual demon possession. Now, this movie is fairly well acted, it looks well shot, but it's sitting at the bottom of my list for a reason. First off, why was anyone making a possession type movie in 2019? That genre has been played out for over a decade now. Most of the movies were just aping The Exorcist and didn't bring anything new to the table, the exceptions being The Exorcism of Emily Rose and The Last Exorcism. This movie tries to be unique, but ultimately falls flat, and I don't even agree with its 6.0 IMDb score. Number 11, The Superdeep from 2020. In 1980s Russia, an epidemiologist and a research team are tasked to go deep down a borehole to take samples and figure out a very dangerous potential threat. So, the premise of this movie is very cool, and I definitely fell for all the hype and comparisons to classics like Alien and The Thing. And with comparisons like that, the bar is instantly set very high. The main problem is this movie just does not deliver. It's obvious that the crew is working with a budget, and I think that hinders the movie greatly, and some scenes really suffer from it. The premise again is cool, and the monster even looks pretty cool, but the execution just does not work. I'd say the 4.9 IMDb score is fairly generous. Number 10, Mon Monsters from 2017. A group of high school students find two strange creatures inside an old building. The creatures turn out to be sisters, and zombies at that. This movie deals with society and how different people within a society make decisions. I really wanted to like this movie. The writing is pretty good, the acting works, and the movie looks great, but something just doesn't sit right with me. I wanted to enjoy it, but I just really did not like it. There's a lot of mean spiritedness, and I guess that's where my issues with it starts. I like the message and the dichotomy we see in our societies every day, but that's where it ends for me with this one. IMDb has this sitting at a 6.3, and I've seen movies I liked much more with lower scores. Not really a fan. Number 9, Gwen from 2018. Set in Wales in the early 19th century, during the Industrial Revolution, a mother and her two young daughters struggle to make ends meet while a mining company has their sights set on the family's land. This movie is kind of confusing in that it wants you to think that it's a horror movie, which it really isn't. Sure, it has a few moments, and it is overall a very dark movie, to say the least. It is bleak and depressing, and you really feel for the main character, Gwen, played by Eleanor Worthington Cox, who turns in a great performance, by the way. Maybe I just don't like super depressing movies with few redeeming moments. If that is your thing, though, then I might recommend this to you. The IMDb rating is sitting at a 5.7, and I can't much disagree with that. Number 8, Blood Quantum from 2019. A mysterious plague begins turning people and animals into zombies. For some reason, Native American people seem to be immune to the virus, as Native American reservations become barricaded fortresses. For the most part, I liked this movie, despite its flaws. I loved how the director, Jeff Barnaby, is himself a native Canadian and really included the struggles of native people and their general outlook on things. All of the actors were also natives, and I really enjoyed that. This movie is fairly bloody and violent, but I found some of it distasteful. I also give it credit for doing something unique with the zombie genre. The IMDb rating is 5.6, and I have no real argument against that. Recommended to serious fans of zombie movies. Number 7, Boar from 2017. Something monstrous has been terrifying the Australian outback, killing livestock and even people. A family on vacation will have to fight for survival as they unknowingly encroach on its territory. I did like Boar. I'm not big on when animals attack type movies because, monstrous or not, I hate seeing animals die. Humans are the real villains, if you ask me. I thought the cast was pretty good. Good to see Bill Moseley and John Jarrett again, and in the same movie, no less. I also really liked Nathan Jones. I expected an all CGI pig, so I was happy that a lot of it was practical. There was a decent amount of blood and gore, even if the execution was pretty basic. IMDb has it sitting at a 5.1 rating, which is maybe just a little bit on the low side. Number 6, Host from 2020. During the pandemic, a group of cooped up friends have a weekly Zoom call to keep each other entertained. This time they decide to hire a medium to conduct a seance for sheer entertainment. Chaos ensues. Now, I'll admit, this movie had a fair amount of hype surrounding it, and I tried to ignore it all so I could give this a fair shot. Is that easy to do? Not always. Are people still talking about it in 2023? Nope. I do like this movie, but it didn't quite live up to all the hype, like I said. It did have a nice, tense build-up. It's unique for the found footage genre, sort of, and at 65 minutes, it doesn't overstay its welcome. I suppose it's fairly spooky if you turn out the lights, ignore all distractions, and just focus on it. It's got a decent 6.5 IMDb score, and maybe that's a little bit on the high end of fairness. And number 5, The Mortuary Collection from 2019. In the town of Raven's End, a young girl seeks employment at an old mortuary. The undertaker, named Montgomery Dark, gives her a tour of the building and tells her some tales of happenings in Raven's End. I really do enjoy anthologies. I find that even when not done super well, I can enjoy a short story. This movie's stories may not blow your mind, but they are entertaining, and I never really felt bored. Some of the stories are fairly gruesome, and I found it funny that the mortician is a dead ringer for the tall man himself, Angus Scrim. Some of the characters here are loosely connected, and there's a twist at the end that I didn't see coming. I'd recommend a casual watch of this to fans of anthologies, and the 6.4 IMDb rating is pretty fair. Number 4, Terrified from 2017. Evil things are happening in Buenos Aires, and a paranormal investigator is called for help as nobody can make sense of these happenings. I don't know if I've ever seen an Argentinian movie before, but I really enjoyed this one. I think it may have been the first Shudder original that I saw, too, so my journey started off fairly strong. I enjoy paranormal type horror, and this movie has some fairly creepy and even shocking scenes, especially one that happens early on in the movie. You likely won't forget it anytime soon, and it sets the tone for what is to come. There's some strong acting here, and I liked the characters. Recommended for all fans of paranormal horror, and I pretty much agree with the 6.5 IMDb score. Number 3, Boys from County Hell from 2020. A group of friends accidentally awaken an ancient slumbering vampire, as if their day-to-day problems weren't already enough. I haven't seen a ton of Irish movies, but I really liked this one. Funny thing is, I liked the characters so much that I thought you could have stripped away the horror elements and you would have been left with a really good drama comedy about a group of buddies dealing with their day-to-day lives. And I do like a good vampire movie. This one brought a unique spin on the vampire genre, but I didn't think the villain here was as effective as it could have been. And despite the good acting, that's probably why it has a 5.9 IMDb rating. Number 2, Yummy from 2019. Michael accompanies his girlfriend Allison to a medical facility that they had only discovered online so she can get a breast reduction. Interesting premise for a zombie movie, right? And that's half the reason why this is sitting at the number 2 spot. I've gotten tired of the same zombie movie over and over again. Michael and Allison are very likable characters, and you root for them to the end. It isn't the scariest or bleakest zombie movie you'll see, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. There's still plenty of gore, and the visuals are well done. You can tell this movie was a labor of love with a lot of heart put into it. Totally recommended to all zombie movie fans, even the ones like me who are a little bit bored of the genre. Maybe the 5.9 IMDb rating is a little low, but what do I know? Number 1, VHS 94 from 2021. After finding a mysterious and disturbing VHS tape, a police force raids a warehouse, discovering terrifying cult activity. Ah, another installment in the VHS franchise. Sure, I'm down. I actually really like these, but what I like the most about them is that every segment in these anthologies is done by a different director. It's a fun concept, even if it makes for an overall uneven movie, because let's be honest, not all directors are of the same caliber. You have a couple heavy hitters here, like Steven Kostansky, famous for The Void and Psycho Gorman. You also have Simon Barrett, best known for his writing, and is VHS alumni at this point. But probably the best and most disturbing sequence here was directed by Timo Tjanto, who I'm not so familiar with aside from his work on VHS 2 from 2013, but he will be on my radar from now on. This has an underwhelming IMDb score of 5.5, and I'll admit, not all the sequences are amazing, but still an overall very fun watch. Anyways, guys, that's it. What do you think about my rankings? And if you want to share your favorite Shudder movies, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about that. So, anyways, as always, thanks for stopping by. Louis says hello, and fucking cheers.